Hello. Today I wanted to talk about the Jewish question and anti-Semitism and a bit about the role that the church has to play in regards to the Jewish people. I thought it appropriate here on the eve of Passover and on the week of Easter that we would get into this and discuss this, as it seems more and more um, necessary to hash these out, to talk about these. So primarily we'll be reading from Romans 11. That's going to be the primary source that we're going to get this information from. A lot of gold nuggets in there. We're not going to go through the entire chapter, but I highly recommend that you do your due diligence and go through that. So we'll go through it and then discuss a little bit about it. So, starting, just a quick note in verse 2, it kind of encapsulates the whole thing by saying, God has not rejected his people whom he foreknew. And you can go back to Mount Sinai and see where he proposed to the nation. But it says it right here. He hasn't rejected his people. They are his people. So going to verse 11, we'll read a chunk of that. So starting in verse 11, chapter 11, Romans. So I ask, did they stumble in order that they might fall? By no means. Rather, through their trespass, salvation has come to the Gentiles, so as to make Israel jealous. Now, if their trespass means riches for the world, and if their failure means riches for the Gentiles, how much more will their full inclusion mean? Now I am speaking to you Gentiles, to the Romans, insomuch as I am an apostle to the Gentiles. I magnify my ministry in order to somehow make my fellow Jews jealous, and thus save some of them. For if their rejection means reconciliation of the world, and what will their acceptance mean but life from the dead? If the dough offered as first fruits is holy, so is the whole lump. And if the root is holy, so are the branches. But if some of the branches were broken off, and you, although a wild olive shoot, were grafted in among others, and now share in the nourishing root of the olive tree, do not be arrogant toward the branches. If you are, remember it is not you who support the root, but the root that supports you. Then you will say, branches were broken off so that I might be grafted in. That is true. They were broken off because of their unbelief, but you stand fast through faith. So do not be proud, but fear. For if God did not spare the natural branches, neither will he spare you. Note then the kindness and the severity of God. Severity towards those who have fallen, but God's kindness to you, provided that you continue in his kindness. Otherwise you too will be cut off. And even they, if they do not continue in unbelief, will be grafted in, for God has the power to graft them in again, which the Bible does prophesy. For if you were cut off, that by nature a wild olive tree, and grafted contrary to nature into a cultivated olive tree, how much more will these, the natural branches, be grafted back into their own tree? He says it right there. Lest you be wise in your own sight, I want you to understand this mystery, brothers. A partial hardening has come upon Israel until the fullness of Gentiles has come in. And in this way all Israel will be saved, as it is written. Another verse that people often cite when talking about missions is all the ends, every people group, every tongue and nation will be reached, and then the end will come. And that's true. But there's another verse that says, only when the Jewish people say, "Blessed be he who comes in the name of the Lord," then Jesus will come for his second coming. And we see this throughout all the Old Testament. We have Hosea and Song of Solomon. Hosea is all about a parable of God showing how when Israel leaves, Hosea's wife leaves him, and he gets her back. And that's the plan of God. We see this in Song of Solomon. We see this separation where they get separated, but they get reunited. And we have the end of the book. We know where Jesus is going to come and establish his new Jerusalem. It's in the name. It's not in the Vatican. It's not in New York. It's in Israel. It's in physical Israel. That's where he will bring his kingdom and transform Jerusalem into his new Jerusalem. We unfortunately suffered 1,500 years of a demonic virus of anti-Semitism. So let's learn from those mistakes and stay true to Romans 11 and not get prideful. Understand our position in the big picture. Understand the big picture from beginning to end, from the mystery of Mount Sinai that we talked about, the marriage proposal, to the marriage supper of the Lamb, this giant marriage procession. Israel is at the focus of that. Israel is at the root of that. And there is a profound, beautiful mystery of this olive tree that was a branch was broken off, a branch of unbelief was broken off so that Gentiles could be grafted in. And then the Bible prophesies that in the end there will be a great apostasy, which is from the Gentile branch a section will be broken off. But how beautiful that is broken off, so that, as Romans 11 says, the Jewish people will be regrafted onto their own tree, and all Israel will be saved. So, again, this doesn't mean you can't criticize a political government. That's not what's in question here. We see from the Old Testament itself that the prophets, all throughout the kingship, they continually, and the judges before that, they continually rebuked the leadership and called them to come back into righteousness. But that was an in-house rebuke. It was strong. I mean, God himself rebukes Israel in many places. But that was an in-house rebuke. That was from a husband calling out the impurities of his own wife. And so it kind of leads us to the question, if a rebuke should be given, who would you listen to a rebuke from? A friend or an enemy? And so, again, Paul talks about wanting to make his Jewish brothers jealous. You don't make them jealous with an inquisition. You make them jealous by showing them, hey, I'm your friend, so I'm going to draw close to you in love, and I have something. And in fact, this was a gift for you that you have rejected that I am now partaking in, but you can partake in it whenever you want. You can have the same intimacy with God that Enoch had, that Adam had, that Abraham had, that Moses had, that the prophets had, that I have. That's for you. So, as it relates to the Jewish question and anti-Semitism, let's let our answer be what Mannerheim, the Finnish war marshal, responded to Hitler, saying, we have no Jewish question here. So be encouraged. Happy Passover, happy Easter. Hopefully you guys are celebrating them. Hopefully you guys aren't celebrating them one without the other, because they are really like a gemstone in a setting. Um, it's a beautiful entirety. So blessings to you guys. Hope this was encouraging. This is Christianity 101 stuff. So I mean, I know it's not maybe all that mind-boggling for those that know the scriptures, but I hope it's encouraging to you guys, and I hope you feel the love. I hope it fills you up with love, and blessings to you guys.